Welcome. I'm Eric. I'm overseeing a few things at Booking, one of them being home, so welcome home. I don't know if because I'm French they put us in the cafe, but that's a nice feeling. So today on the menu, another French way to speak, we'll have first panel with two people from our product teams. Then we'll have a partner panel also with some folks from Booking. At the end, we'll have a third session with a product presentation from our teams. So first, I would like to welcome Sarah Rayner and Inas Abdella from our product teams at Booking. Big round of applause for them. And with them, we're going to talk about what has been cooking till now at Booking, what's coming, and a bit of reflection how we're trying to capture everything to help everybody here and more grow in the home space. But maybe first, if you can introduce yourself quickly.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. Great to be back at Click. I'm Inas. I lead product for alternative accommodations in our two-sided marketplace. I've been at Booking for about 8 years now, and together with my teams, we develop products that make it easier for travelers to experience homes, as well as helping partners like you grow with us.
Thanks. Sarah?
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah. It's my first time at Click. I'm super excited to be here. I lead a product area that we call growth segments internally. So that means what I do is I look into and identify opportunities and unlock these opportunities to bring new customers to Booking.com. And we do this by keeping a very close eye on the market, the industry, booking behaviors, to see what are needs that are not met by Booking.com. And then we develop products to address these needs, to make sure that all these new customers that we bring to Booking.com really have a great experience.
Great, thanks. So let's dive right into it. Just for you to know, also we'll try to leave time for Q&A. You can already put in the app questions if you want to go to that, and we'll take questions from the audience. First question to you, Inas. You and I were on stage at Click last year, right? We made some promises. We said that we would solve some key pain points. What have we done? What is still yet to do and deliver? What do you think?
Yes, well, I would say it's been a busy year. We had some big topics to tackle and a lot of feedback to work on. I am happy to share that we've made improvements across 3 key areas. So first, improving the traveler experience, where a common feedback that we do get is that our platform has a lot of focus on hotels. So through foundational improvements like filters and configurations, we've brought accommodations that offer entire places more to the forefront. And besides that, we've also made it easier for partners to attain a review score, which not only helps you get more visibility, but also helps to earn the guest trust. Second thing has been peace of mind. I think that's a big topic for a lot of our partners. Partners expressed a lot of concerns around the risks of property damage when listing with us. So we've taken some major steps to address this. One of which is, we piloted request to book for new individual properties in Australia, France, and the US. And in addition to that, we've also shared, last year when we were on stage, we shared that we were piloting a damage program whereby Booking.com would handle the payments on our partners' behalf for damage requests. So I'm happy to share also there that we have scaled this globally, with the exception of Brazil. And now properties, all properties on Payments by Booking have access to the damage program. So speaking of which, I think payments is also a very important topic for this group. We've enabled payments for our US larger partners and got also really great results in terms of a reduction in cancellations as well as no-shows. And then the third thing I would say has really been about improving the partner experience, where the ability to manage a business at a partner level instead of a property level has really been this recurring theme that we hear. So on that front, we've launched KPIs and market insights on Group Extranet and scaled the Market Insights API to all eligible connectivity providers. And last but not least, we've also made it easier for newer partners to get that first booking faster with us.
Quite a lot.
Busy year.
Yeah, so a lot across like reassurance, performance, guest experience, a lot of other topics.
Yeah.
Sarah, on your side, you've been busy as well, right? Because there's a lot of trends and types of demand that is linked to how we grow homes. What have your teams worked on last year that you think is important for this group to know?
So maybe let me take a step back to just explain a bit, like how do we actually decide what we focus on, what is the growth segment? And we obviously look at the Booking.com strategy to make sure that there's alignment, but we also look at where can we add value as Booking.com to both sides of the marketplace. So really to our partners as well as the travelers. And for me, two segments are really top of mind at the moment, and were so last year as well, and continue to be that. First is families. So we see that, after the pandemic, family travel, family demand is back. It's back really strongly. So that's a big area for us to focus on. And the second one is length of stay. So we see that the pandemic potentially has amplified some of those trends in how long our travelers want to travel. We see people traveling for longer periods of time. So shorter stays becoming slightly longer, and then there's longer stays, like really long. When we talk about long stays, a booking, it's 28, 30 nights plus. And from these segments, we see quite a lot of unique needs that we now need to make sure that we address on both sides of the marketplace.
Thanks. I think also good to mention that, or remind people that on long stays, I mentioned this morning, I think on stage, that 25 years of Instant Book and relaunch Request to Book pilot. We spent 23 years without long stays, and for a couple of years now, we started enabling it and starting accelerating that as well. So it's also one of those opportunities for us to grab, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another thing that long stays, families, a lot of the pain points you mentioned came back a lot in the past, but marketing is also another one, right? I think many of you have voiced concerns on, hey, this is great, you're improving the product, but what about the marketing investments? What about that additional demand that you should be driving? So it was almost a criticism, fair one, that we were getting. Anything in particular that you and your teams and our marketing friends have been working on that is worth mentioning maybe from the past year?
Yeah, sure. I think, when we say investing in demand, we really look at every step of that funnel. So from awareness of a traveler that, that they can actually book a home on Booking.com, to consideration of Booking.com as a platform to be able to compare home options. And then finally to conversion, where a traveler does book a home that fits their need and is able to do so through the sites. So I think, to unpack this a little bit further, starting with awareness and raising that awareness outside of our platform, I would say a big change that has happened since this time last year is that homes are becoming, increasingly more emphasized than a lot of our messaging and creatives, as you may have seen in some of the morning sessions as well. In the US, we had the Booking.yeah campaign with Idris Elba that maybe some of you may have seen. And more recently, we also had launched the Super Bowl ad with Melissa McCarthy, which was the most viewed commercial on YouTube by Monday after the Super Bowl, with over 100 million viewers. So that's a lot is happening in the US market. And then in Europe, that continues to be our stronghold. And we do have the Booking.yeah campaign that's coming up again in the summer. But I think it's also really important to mention that our own platform is also a prime real estate for raising awareness. We know that a majority of our Booking.com customers have not yet tried a home with us. So this year, we're taking some meaningful steps to ensure that every traveler that's using our platform is aware that we have homes. And we plan to do so through inspirational ads on the homepage or even a dedicated landing experience. So there's a lot happening, I would say, on the awareness front. And then, in terms of bringing in more that consideration and conversion, we continue to invest in, improving the discoverability of homes on the platform. And just to share an example with you, some time ago, we added a checkbox on the homepage that allows travelers to indicate right at the start of their search that they're looking for an entire place. And that streamlined search has really helped to make it easier for them to be able to find and to book these home properties. So there's a lot that's there in terms of the product improvements. But in addition, we are also looking at funneling some of the insights that we find to our marketing team so that we can also evolve some of the messaging and the creatives that we have. An example there, for instance, is with the insight that having a large outdoor space has become more and more of a bigger reason for travelers to choose homes. So instead of marketing the inside of homes, we've adapted some of the creative campaigns to really reflect that outdoor space that homes offer.
And maybe building on that point, so because you talked about how to generate more demand, all the product improvements we've done across your two teams, etc., to capture that additional demand. But are there any additional motivations or drivers for people to book homes with us, or overall, that you see necessarily on the day-to-day?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would say, one of the main growth drivers that we are seeing for home has been this changing traveler preference, which has really been amplified by the pandemic. And you may have seen some of the trends that were shared in the earlier sessions, but with increasing demand for flexibility or even longer lengths of stays, and there's also the rise of work and leisure trips becoming more and more intertwined, which increasingly then we see travelers looking for a home away from home type of experience. And that's really presented some new opportunities to be able to cater to some of those needs. We do see that there's still plenty of space for growth within the home space. I've shared how we're investing more in marketing, but also helping our partners to be more visible on our platform so that they can also capture this growing demand.
And on your side, maybe it's for the growth segment piece, any specific motivations or drivers that I was calling out?
I think what we see is that there is an increased need for additional information. So we have a really big variety of travelers coming to our platform, and I see that variety increasing, while at the same time people have a bit of I would say, like an image in mind of how do they want their trip to be like. And they come to Booking.com, they're looking at accommodations, and they're trying to see, okay, is this a match? Could this work? And we see questions popping up like, well, will I be able to work from there? What about my family? Is everybody going to fit comfortably? How is the sleeping setup going to be? And I think that's a huge opportunity for vacation rentals to provide that information, and for Booking.com to help to make this information easily accessible. Because while we have our travelers saying, we want all this information, we want all the details, we want to know exactly how it's going to feel like when we enter this accommodation, we also hear from them, I don't want to read through a lot of information. Just show me this information when it is relevant for me. So we invest a lot in making sure we show personalized information. We understand the intent of the traveler, and then we show what they need at the right time.
So yeah, personalization and showing more, but not too often.
Exactly, not
luck.
too often,
Good
and not
luck
the
with
same
that.
to everyone.
Strike the right balance.
Yes.
Perfect, nice. We talked a bit about the present, about the past, and what we've done, but fast forwarding a year from now, let's say we are still at the Café Venue in the year, what would you be able to call out as things that we've been able to do on the product side, or other things for our partners in the home space? Maybe Ines?
I think we have an exciting year coming ahead. There's a number of improvements that we're continuing to make for partners and for travelers across these three big areas. If we're looking at how are we improving the traveler experience, we know that reviews are a key deciding factor for travelers. So we're continuing to build guest trust by sourcing external review scores even faster. We're also working on making our Genius loyalty program a lot more tailored for homes by introducing a new cleaning fee waiver benefit that will help you attract some more of the Genius level 2 and 3 customers, as well as further increase your visibility as well. Then, when we look at the peace of mind, we mentioned earlier about request to book. So we do plan to scale that and expand that, make it available globally for new individual partners, and pilot it with some connectivity providers as well. In addition to that, we're looking at introducing some new ways in which you can opt into the damage program through bringing it at a group level or bringing it an API so that it can allow you to reduce some of the manual workload that you have. So things are really coming up, and we hear, for payments, a key focus for our larger partners really is, what is that ease? How can you help me with the operational overhead regarding the payments? And on that front, we'll be enabling payments with group reconciliation and onboarding in Group Extranet for markets outside of the US. So there's a lot more that we see in this space. I think there's a lot more for us to do, certainly. But we're making steps there, and to help improve your experience with us even further, we're looking at bringing in more actionable market insights through Group Extranet as well as through API, and finding ways to enhance the connectivity provider features to also improve the onboarding. So if you do want more of a visual sneak peek, I know that's a lot to capture there. Do stay back and watch some of the product presentations that's coming up on Homes right after this.
Lots of good commitments. I just realized there's a camera there, so we're putting that on tape.
I feel like there's going to be a click next year of like, what did you say on stage?
Exactly, yeah. We'll just play it back and just tick the boxes. Yeah. Sarah, what about you?
I think what I'm most excited about is that we are able to address a large variety of topics and optimize. I think variety is a key word here, because we have big variety of customers, a big variety of partners, so lots and lots of needs to address. I want to talk about data first, and big data, because it's so hip right now with chat, GPT, and everyone's talking about artificial intelligence. We've been investing in our machine learning and our artificial intelligence capabilities and skills for years at Booking. And one of the ways how we are using this is in our recommendations. So this year we will continue to invest in that to make sure that, as I said, that the travel intent floats through, so that we are able to identify travel intent and then match our recommendations better. We also see a lot of value to personalize based on group setup and occupancy preferences. Another big thing that we have heard from our partners and that we are investing in this year is merchandising capabilities. So there's a lot of content that you're providing to us, as well as attractive pricing. Thinking of my growth segments, I'm thinking of children rates here, or discounts that you're providing for monthly stays or weekly stays. So we want to make sure that we are highlighting this to the right traveler even more, so that they're really aware of the attractiveness of the offer that we're providing. And this goes beyond just pricing. We're also looking at facility information, amenity information. How can we showcase all of that even more strongly? Then I mentioned sleeping arrangements as something that I really see as a key thing for vacation rentals. We have a lot of travelers with questions. We see it in our FAQs on Booking.com, where travelers can ask, and sleeping arrangement comes up a lot for families. And so this is something that we believe we can spend a bit more time on, and to make that clearer, so that people see on the website directly what they can expect. And we do expect that what this will mean is fewer cancellations, as well as better expectation setting and a better experience during the stay. And then last but not least is a pilot that I'm really excited about. So we started this pilot last year, and we're scaling it this year. And it's about value adds. So it's being able for you to provide rates and additional services. And it's really an opportunity to differentiate yourselves, as well as to have new revenue streams. When I'm thinking of vacation rentals for value adds, I'm thinking of, for example, flexibility for check-in and check-out. So early check-in, late check-out. We could also look into different fees, such as fees for pets, fees for cribs. other family-related bits, and transportation, so be it shuttle services, bike rentals, parking, lots of opportunities, I think, there.
Busy again, right?
Yeah.
And Inas, just you didn't mention anything about demand marketing. So just wondering, like beyond product, is there how are we going to build on all the things we're doing right now to accelerate the investments in marketing? If there's anything to call out already.
Yes, certainly. I mean, I think this year will certainly be a year of go big or go home, all pun intended. We do see that what I mentioned before on the brand communications, that it's increasingly bringing very strong and explicit home first type of a flavor there. And there's material investments that we're putting in across more marketing channels so that homes won't be this implied topic with customers in our dialogue, but really how to bring it so that it's a leading topic representing the heart of travel. But I'd say, what I'm most excited about is, and we see this through the research, how homes, more than ever, are really offering travelers a way of, just bringing in their unique self, bringing in their personality, and even almost, some of those weird daily habits of their life into their trips. I mean, at the start of the pandemic, we saw these, business executives sitting with a shirt on, jumping on a Zoom call with a swimsuit at the bottom, and then going to the beach after a board meeting. So, and that's no longer a meme, right? Rather, it's a way in which a lot of us now travel when we're blending in, our life with work and whatever our definition of happiness is. So that's what we're really capturing. Whereas with our new homes dedicated campaigns, it's reflecting this amazing opportunity to just experience the world, to continue doing what we love as families, group of friends, as couples, and all the while just get back to one of the most important aspects of travel that we were missing during the pandemic, which really is togetherness. So we'll convey, this new inspirational home brand expression through different channels that we have, whether it's the larger scale brand campaigns like Booking.com, or even some of the lower or mid-funnel marketing mixes. So there's certainly a range that's happening there. And I would also just like to add, from what Sarah mentioned earlier, that we're also looking at what are some of the untapped demand segments that are there. You've heard families mentioned today. There was flexible travel and longer stays as well, all of whom can also benefit from these demand playbooks.
Okay. Maybe based on this and all the things that you have cooking for the coming year, all the different investments in different fields, product, marketing, etc. That's a lot to digest for today, maybe. If you had to leave the audience with one piece of advice, one call out, one thought, one joke, whatever you want, what would that be? Maybe Sarah, want to start?
I mean, I think it's critical for us to have an open dialogue. We need to have this open dialogue between Booking.com and our partners. And saying this and being here at Click, I think, is really fitting. This is a great opportunity for us to listen to each other and to look into how do we co-create. How do we are in this together. It's not like partners are doing one thing, Booking.com is doing another thing, and we're like on parallel streams. We are in this together. How do we work together and co-create the future of travel together?
Thanks.
Yeah, and I think, just adding to what Sarah just mentioned, it's, I'd like to say leverage also some of the actionable advice that we recommend, whether it's in terms of, applying certain settings to a pricing or availability or rate plans or content. That really goes a long way to helping you optimize your performance and also helping us to better showcase your listing so that you can attract the right travelers. So, continue sharing your feedback with us, as you've heard in this session. We certainly value your feedback and are constantly working on ways in which we can drive further growth and do so together as well.
Thanks. And I guess we'll get into the feedback piece in a second. But good, I saw some people making notes of the last advice, so that's good. Cool. Well, thanks a lot. And now is time for Q&A, the fun bit, right? Mm-hmm. I saw already a lot of things coming on the iPad just now. So awesome. I'll start maybe before I go to the Q&A on the app. Anyone in the audience already who wants to ask anything? Yeah. People are very excited about homes. Any question from anyone here? We have a mic. Or I should go through this first? No? No? Okay, I'll go there. First question, when will it be possible to use the damage control program? Does every booking have this protection? Ines.
Yes, so it's already live. It is available globally at the moment. It's for properties that are on payments by booking, and yeah, so that's already there. We are looking at bringing it also to properties that are on a virtual credit card, but for the ones that are on payments, that's already available to use.
Thanks. Next question. I was scrolling, like, cancel your plans for tonight. It's going to be a long Q&A session. How do people get invited to be part of a pilot for the things we do? Anyone wants to answer that? How do you get invited to be part of a pilot?
So it depends on the pilot that we run. Before we start a pilot, we look into, okay, there is this bit about qualitative and quantitative information. And so we look into where is the demand for that particular product. I'm assuming at this point that a pilot might be a product in this case. So where's the demand? Therefore, where should we be looking into testing, and how do we match demand and supply here? There are pilots where we reach out to partners directly to ask for, hey, do you want to contribute to this? And there are other situations where it's more like a natural growth, in the sense of we start in one area, we don't necessarily restrict it, but partners who happen to be in that area join, and then we expand geographically or based on any other characteristics.
Anything to add, Ines, to this?
Yeah, I mean, I think along with that, right, it does depend on the product, and also depends on where can we learn the fastest. Because ultimately what we want to get within that pilot is get a lot of feedback, learn, and then find a way in which we can scale it out so that it's available to more of our partners. So there's a few things indeed that we do take into consideration. Certainly we look at geographical, we look at where we can have also some more lean in, so that the more partners that adopt a certain product, the more we're able to learn. So there's a few factors that we take into consideration, but ultimately it's how can we learn the fastest and be able to bring this across for all.
Thanks. And by the way, if you put the question in the app and you want to follow up on that answer, feel free to raise your hand, and we can discuss further. Another one, maybe for you, Sarah. Since flexible conditions are important amongst travelers, this is more risks when selling home focusing on long stays. What is the optimal policy for that segment?
We're currently looking into what is an ideal scenario here. So it's about a balance. We know that a lot of our travelers, they value flexibility. It's one of the reasons that they come to Booking.com. So there's a certain expectation from the traveler. But there's also, of course, an expectation from the partner, and both are equally important. So for us, long stays is a newer area. We are still looking into that to understand what is the ideal. It might be that we need to differentiate here based on intent. It might be that there are also more other considerations that we do, so that it's not necessarily a one-size-fits-all, but different criteria here that need to be applied.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm afraid not as black and white as we would like, but more to come on this for sure.
Thanks. Another one for you, I think, more on the value adds type of topic. You've mentioned additional revenue streams such as fees, pets or parking, etc. Are there any plans to make them available to book immediately on Booking as an extra service, including in rate like breakfast? So it's maybe good to go back to what exactly is the current thing we are proposing, and what are the other plans that we are considering in terms of what else would be, how you would be able to book them.
So at the moment, the way that we are looking at value adds is to buy value adds together with the rate itself, so with the accommodation. So you would be able to specify, okay, a traveler can stay in my property. that's it. Or a traveler can stay in my property and gets all these other things on top. There is a certain catalog of services that you can choose from. And that catalog, is expanding based on the feedback that we're getting from partners. But it currently gets bundled into the rate. And then we show it across the funnel. We make our travelers aware of this information. Now, some things that you might want to bundle, as pets have come up, or cribs, this is for us important to potentially already showcase more in the upper funnel. So if I'm traveling with a pet, I probably know that already, so I might be looking for properties where I can go to with my pet. So we need to make sure that that information is visible right from the start, while there's other things that are more like nice to haves, where throughout the funnel and maybe also later on through some upsell mechanism, we can merchandise this to travelers. So both, I think, opportunities are there.
Thanks. Any follow-up on this one from anyone? No? I'll stop here for the iPad. Anyone has another follow-up or question from the audience? No? Come on. No? Right, thanks. Can we have a mic over there, please? We can hear you, but I just want to make sure that... okay, you speak. Okay, perfect.
So just for clarification, what you were saying about value adds, the differential rates. So would it be similar to when I'm choosing a hotel room, I can choose with breakfast, without breakfast? Is that how, I can choose with my child that requires a crib, with my pets? Is that how you present those options, right?
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
And right now it's a limited number of things that are part of this, but obviously the goal is to scale that in terms of how we, what we source.
But they see the aggregate rate, right?
Yes, it's the aggregate rate.
Yes. Thanks. Another one
There's
for
another
you.
question.
Yeah. Oh, maybe. Okay, cool, perfect.
Are you planning as well to create a kind of like a package rate for hotel or vacation rate or flight or something else that if you buy it at once?
As part of our bigger strategy as Booking.com, yes, I see this is the direction that this is going, that you as a traveler are able to buy multiple
Verticals,
things.
yes.
Yeah.
So this is the connected trip piece that was presented this morning on stage, right? So right now building the flights vertical, there's other things and on the side, all of these through the lens of Genius and the high value travelers. And as part of this, then the idea is how can we go further in terms of not just bundling a breakfast or something else ancillary, but I guess other things. So this will come, but I don't think we have enough details on this at the moment.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing here for bundles is that certain big decisions that the traveler makes, like the flight and the accommodation, they happen at a certain point in time, while I would say smaller decisions might happen later on, after the first booking was made, or maybe even later than that, like when the stay is really about to approach, and the bundle potentially upsell opportunity enables you to leverage that. So there's more opportunities to reach out to travelers, to talk to them about, hey, these are other services that are available, and make them look attractive.
Thanks. Good. Perfect. Inas, request to book, ! Can you please elaborate on your findings, why this function is gaining more importance toward our mutual customers and guests?
Sure. So I think with the request to book, and if you've heard also the session earlier where Eric was mentioning, well, for 25 years, it's been instant booking that we've been working on with our customers, whereas now we have brought in the request to book. And where we do see that is, for our partners, it's increasingly important. So new partners, especially as they're listing with us, there is a sense of, what if something happens to my property? So at that point, we do provide them then a sense of control to be able to assess, okay, who's the type of guest that's coming, and then that they're able to go ahead and either accept or decline a booking request. So that's really where we're seeing it take traction. And I think to your question of this is becoming more and more important, I think it's really just an example of feedback that we're hearing, and we're finding a way to how do we balance that two-sided marketplace, right? Because for travelers, they want to find a property, book it right away, and then they have that trip. Whereas on this side, then for partners, we also understand that if you're new and if you're putting up your property, there is also a sense of a reassurance that you're looking for. So that's really where we're trying to find that ground, and by offering this, then we're able to offer also our travelers certain properties that maybe they wouldn't have otherwise had access to. So I think that's really an example where we're looking at how do we balance and how do we take in that feedback that we've been hearing.
Yeah, maybe I would just add something to this, which is that the request to book thing is mostly on the host side, right? It's a reassurance feature, or to be able to make sure that you know who's coming. From a guest perspective, there's a reason why we've done 25 years of instant book, right? It's not really the best solution, but and what the goal is indeed at some point to be able to show partners that with booking, there's a way to perform better and get a different type of guests through an instant book model. And there's a fair share of partners who are listing on other platforms as a request to book, and they list on as instant book with us, and they like it. So I think this is also something that we need to learn from and see how we can transition also more of those properties on request to book at some point to instant book. When will it be possible to change the description of the property? Not again. It's coming. Who did that?
Another common feedback. Well, I think, when it comes to with the description, what we do see from research is that travelers are more visually driven than they are text driven. So when they're looking at also making that choice of what to book, they're really looking at what are your photos, what's available, what can I expect to be able to see there. So we have been focusing a lot on getting better photos and advising also in terms of what types of photos to add, so that we can ultimately, I think, what's the goal of having the description, right? It's to be able to showcase your listing and have the right type of travelers book it. So we really look at through photos, through facilities, how can we help travelers have that consideration there? At the same time, we do recognize as well that this is a common feedback that we're hearing from our partners. So a few years back, we did enable you to write your own profile. So whether it's individual owners or whether it's part of a company, describing who you are to the travelers that will be staying there, as well as describing your property in your own way. Right, and being able to also have a point to highlight some of that uniqueness of your property. And what we are doing is our product teams are looking at, how do we bring this information a lot more prominently, so that it's not just the description or just the host experience that's already there within the profiles, but how do we actually combine it so that the photos are there, it's clear for the travelers. This is really information to just complement and highlight some of that uniqueness and ultimately help them make the right type of a decision.
I think this is a tricky one, I think, because intuitively, if I owned a property that I listed on Booking.com, I would probably want to write my own description because I know my property and I can showcase my property best. What we see, though, is that we have this big variety of travelers, and we are going into kind of this new era where we are combining information from different sources, where we're using visuals, we're using kind of tags, categories, review information, the content that you provided, and then we mash something up that is super personalized. So if I'm looking at a property and Inas is looking at a property, we might be seeing different things that are being highlighted to us. And this ability is something that we can do with the technology that we have built and the personalization features that we have. And I think that is kind of going beyond the level of being able to write it yourself. So I think that's a consideration here, unless you are happy to write 500 descriptions in 40 plus languages. Just something to think about, I guess.
So long story short, in progress.
Complicated.
Right. We have, 5 minutes left. I think there was a question over there from someone, right? No?
That was it, but you just answered.
Oh, okay, perfect. We have time for a couple. What features are you building to better serve the needs of families renting a home for their trip?
For families. So we have like a whole catalog of things that we want to focus on. What a really key thing for us this year for families is to look into the different type of families. So family is not family. There's not just one big umbrella that we can look into, but we see that the needs really depend on the number of children and the age of children, with the age being really the key thing here. And we see that especially families with younger children, in terms of performance, there's a huge opportunity. In terms of raising the conversion there, making sure that we provide them with all the information that they want, because they also tend to look for more information. So you might, not just might, but for sure you will see us reaching out about providing information about cribs, providing information about child rates, maybe an evolution of child rates and breaking it further down into more age levels, how they're being treated. So that's kind of for younger children. For older children, we're looking into how can we pair accommodation and other needs from travelers, such as entertainment options that we see popping up, the sleeping arrangements that I picked up, where we know that maybe everybody doesn't want to sleep in the same room, but we can showcase different bedrooms, different sizes of beds, how the beds can stay together as opportunities.
Thanks. We have time for one more. Do you intend to implement a damage insurance like air cover from Airbnb?
So I think there, right, we're again looking at, what are the most common type of damages that do happen. And what we are seeing is that it's things that are, within what we do see that now the damage policy currently is looking at is if there's damages within, if a traveler is there and they've caused some damages in the property, that's actually, like, at least within the range that we're currently seeing, more and more, it's really that type of a damage. So one of the things that we are looking at in this year is increasing the amount for the payment request that we're able to take in terms of what we consider as part of the damage program. And that's a way in which we are, so it wouldn't be exactly what Airbnb has with the air cover from a view of the insurance of the 1 million insurance, but rather looking at even within the damage program, which, from scaling it and from piloting it, we really see that it's working very well. What we want to offer is a bit more flexibility there so that we do increase then the coverage that we're able to offer.
Thanks. I think we're out of time. So thanks a lot again, Sarah, Inas, for the inputs and for the long Q&A. But hopefully it was useful. There were a lot more questions in there. Product people from Booking, can you raise your hand so that people can see you and go to you after if they have more questions? We have a couple of other questions. Yeah, get ready for some questions. So we have more sessions coming, so maybe we can cover some of this in the next couple of sessions, but otherwise, people from Booking are here to answer the questions, get feedback, be nice, but assertive still. Thanks in advance. And thanks a lot again. Inas, you stay with me for the next panel. Sarah, thank you. And everybody can stretch for the next couple of minutes until we get the next question. Thank you.
Thank you.